Hey guys, it's Alicia. I'm back with another video for you, and today we are going to be talking about my favorite products from the drugstore in 2013. As we all know, 2014 is here, and I can't believe how quickly it came. 2013 just went by like that. But anyways, I always think the new year is exciting because all my favorite brands come out with new products for me to try when the new year comes. But that being said, it kind of made me reflect a little bit on the products of the past year that I've used and loved and that have kind of been staples in my collection. So I just thought I would make a video going through all of my favorite products: foundation, concealers, eye products, blushes, lip products, primers, just basically covering it all. I wanted to focus on products from the drugstore because, don't get me wrong, I love my high-end products, but products from the drugstore, in my opinion, a lot of them, the quality is right up there with products that I get in the high-end stores like Sephora or Ulta or anything of that nature. If you can find the high-end quality with a drugstore price, I mean, why not go for it? And a lot of the staples in my collection are drugstore products, and a lot of things that I go back to and use and that I know won't let me down are products from the drugstore. And they're more accessible to everyone. We all have access to the drugstore and we all can afford the prices that the drugstore gives us. So I just thought if I just focused on the drugstore, then it would kind of narrow things down a little bit, and I'm just going through products that we all are familiar with, but maybe a little deeper into them. And if I can kind of point out the high points of a certain brand for you, then maybe I can make your drugstore trip a little easier. So as I go through these products, if you see anything that you really like, or you want to see a certain technique with it, or you would like to see it in a tutorial, please comment below and let me know, because I would love to hear from you, and I would just love to know what videos you guys would like to see. I already got one request from my girl Laura to do a false eyelash tutorial, how to apply false lashes, and I'm definitely going to do that very soon. But I just want to hear from you guys, get some feedback on what you would like to see. So please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. So basically, I'm just going to go through all the different areas of products from the drugstore. I have a little bit of everything: foundations, concealers, all the eye products, eyeliners, mascaras, eyeshadows, face products, blushes, bronzers, highlighters, primers, brushes, just things that if you're at the drugstore and you're looking for something specific, I probably have tried it, and I can probably give you a little advice and point you in the right direction so you can get exactly what you're looking for. So I am surrounded by a cajillion products right now, and I don't want this video to be like 5 hours long, so I'm just going to jump right into it. So if you want to see my favorite drugstore products of 2013, just keep watching. Oh, and before I forget, obviously, a little bit of a change. I got a new hair color. I was really going for that red, purple, burgundy kind of look, and this is what it came out. I'm kind of into it. I've never really had a sort of bold hair color before, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I'm really kind of liking it. I did kind of this magenta color dye with, then I went back in and put some deep purpley kind of highlights. So let me know if you like it. Thumbs up this video if you're digging it, because I certainly am. Alright, so first and foremost, I want to start out with foundation. There are a lot of drugstore foundations out there that are extremely comparable to my high-end foundations. And the one I'm going to start with, the one that is tried and true, this is the foundation I wear when I kind of don't know what I want to wear in the morning, but I know I want to look flawless. This one never lets me down, and it's the L'Oreal True Match Foundation. It just comes in a little glass bottle like this. This foundation is just amazing. There's really no other word for it, and you are pretty much guaranteed to find your shade in it, because I am an N3. I have about 3 different shades depending on the time of year it is and how tan I am. I think I have N3, N4, and maybe N6 or 7. And it's kind of nice because when you have a few different shades of a foundation, if your skin isn't quite as light as the lightest or dark as the darkest, you can kind of mix a little of both and get your perfect shade. So, but like I was saying, you can always, you're guaranteed pretty much to find your shade with this L'Oreal True Match, because they have 3 different categories of foundation depending on your skin tone. They have the N's, which are neutrals. They have W, which is warm, and then they have C's, which are cool. And then within those three categories, they probably have 10 or 12 different shades. So it's pretty much a guarantee that you can find a foundation that matches your skin tone perfectly. And that's something I love about this foundation, because with a lot of drugstore foundations, I find that a flaw is definitely color selection. They give you a very small choice and it's very difficult to find your exact shade. But with the L'Oreal True Match, that's definitely not going to be a problem. And this, I would say, is pretty much a matte finish. It's a medium coverage but can definitely be built up to a full coverage. It just makes your skin look flawless and clean. It does everything you want a foundation to do. So definitely this is very high on my drugstore foundation list. This is one that I will always make sure that I have. And in that same family, if I'm looking for a more dewy or luminous finish to my skin, then I will definitely use the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. And that just looks like this. And basically this is the same True Match formula, but it has a luminous finish. So if you're looking for that really dewy, natural glow, definitely give the True Match Lumi a try. It won't let you down. Again, the same quality of the True Match, which is with its longevity and even coverage, but with a more luminous finish if that's something you're into. Oh, and just to say as well, my skin tends to be dry. I'm not very oily or anything like that, so some of these formulations definitely are more for my sort of skin tone. The drier foundations tend to dry up a lot more easy on me. I used to set all my foundations with a powder, but now I tend not to do that, because then that's when you can get those lines and things can start looking kind of cakey. But for oily skin, you kind of have to do that, or throughout the day your foundation kind of slides off, or you see your skin peeking through. But I'll just say when I'm talking about these things that is my skin type is dry. So next, this foundation is definitely, if not number 1.5, number 2. If I'm looking for a long wearing finish that is just going to last and last and last and make my skin look impeccable, then I'm definitely going to go with my Revlon Color Stay Whipped Foundation. This is a cream foundation. I mentioned it in my last video. So it's kind of a different formulation than, for example, the True Match, which is very liquidy. This is a cream, so you can kind of hold it upside down. It's not going to go anywhere. So you basically need very little of this product, and it goes a long, long way. I would just basically dip my finger in, kind of put it on my cheeks, chin, forehead, and then blend it out with either a brush or sponge, whatever I'm using that day. But this foundation, you don't really know what the formulation is, because it's just remarkable. Throughout the day, your skin just looks better and better. I notice when I catch myself in a mirror, you know, later on in the morning or the afternoon, it just looks better than when I put it on first thing in the morning, which it looks great first thing in the morning. So this foundation is just amazing. I can't really say enough good things about it. If I'm looking at this is definitely full coverage. It's not medium by any stretch of the imagination. So for a night out, or if you know you're getting your picture taken, definitely this is a foundation that I would suggest. It's going to last a long time, it's not going to go anywhere, and your skin is just going to look flawless. It looks like your skin when it's on. Another foundation that I think is worth mentioning, this is kind of newer to my collection. It hasn't been a staple for very long, but I would compare it to the True Match, and it's a medium coverage but is sort of buildable, is the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation. This is, I think it claims to be a primer, foundation, and concealer, which I wouldn't, lasting power of primer, coverage of a concealer, and blendability of a foundation in one. Shine free. Now, I wouldn't go that far saying that it's all of these things. I still have to use my concealer and primers and all that. But it's definitely a great foundation. It gives you even coverage. Its wearability is great. I love the finish it gives on my skin. Like the True Match, it can be built up to more of a full coverage. and it's a great value from the drugstore, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. Definitely the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous. And the last foundation, it's not really a foundation, but I just thought it was worth mentioning because during the summer months, when you want coverage but it's really hot out and you just are dreading the feeling of foundation on your skin when you're going to be sweating or moving around or just doing some sort of activity, or just every day in the summer. A lot of people don't like that feeling of something on their skin during the summer. So if you're looking for a lightweight coverage, I definitely have loved and strongly recommend a BB cream. And my favorite BB cream is from Garnier, the Skin Renew Miracle Skin Perfector BB cream. It just kind of looks like that. And a BB cream, you don't put on a primer or anything before you use the BB cream because the formula is meant to go right on your skin because it has a lot of moisturizers and perfectors and things that are good to seep in your skin and just nourish it basically. So it's good for your skin and it gives you coverage. I would say this is a very light coverage, but nonetheless it still gives you some coverage, and if you put a powder or something over top then you get even more so. But it's just definitely a staple in my collection during the summer months when it's hot out and I just want something light on my skin. The only drawback with this, I think now maybe they have 3 shades, but when I bought this they only had 2, light medium and medium deep. This one here, this one here is the medium deep shade, and I also own the light medium too, and if I'm kind of in between I sort of mix them depending on what my skin tone shade is at the moment, but that's, I would say, is the only drawback to this product. Otherwise, I think it feels great on the skin, it smells wonderful, and it does everything that I would like a BB cream to do. So that covers it for foundation. Next, I'm going to move on to concealer. Now, concealer is something that I feel a lot of girls are just on a quest for the perfect concealer because the right formula is extremely hard to find. Every brand has a dozen different concealers and you kind of have to weed through them to find the right ones. I will say that most of my favorite concealers are high-end because some of their formulas just do exactly what I want. I mentioned before I have sort of dry skin, but as far as blemishes and things like that go, I mean, I will get the occasional sort of big blemish, but acne or things like that have never really been a problem for me. So I basically use concealers for under eye. Definitely bags are an issue that I have and something that I've worked over the years to find the best technique to cover up the bags and dark circles under my eyes. I don't so much use them for concealer coverage, although I certainly have many that would be great for that. So the concealers I'm going to show you are more of a liquidy finish, not so thick to go on other parts of your face, but definitely I use them for under eye and sort of highlighting, going down the nose, the forehead, chin, if I just want a little brightness in my face. So the first concealer I'm going to talk about is one that I've heard about all over YouTube and one that I've used for quite a while now, and I've just got nothing but good things to say about it. And this is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. It just looks like this, and the shade I have is fair. I think I also have light and medium. So if I want a really bright look under my eyes, if I have a smoky eye and I really want my cheeks to pop, then I'll use fair. If I want my skin to kind of all blend together, maybe I'll use a medium. But regardless, this concealer is the way to go, basically. It's very liquidy. If you can just see there, it kind of looks like that, and it's very easily blendable. You can just put it under your eyes, blend it out with I use a beauty blender, a little sponge, or a brush, and I find using this under my eyes, it doesn't crease, it doesn't flake off, and basically those are huge problems for me as far as concealer goes because it can really crease. I have fine lines under my eyes, and finding a concealer that doesn't just crease into those instantly is definitely hard to do. But also for the dark circles under my eyes, I usually put this on top of another concealer, and it's also from Maybelline, and it's the Age Rewind. It just looks like this. and it has a sponge tip on the top, but I just kind of took that off. And this is in the Bright Illuminating color. It's like a pinky toned. So basically what I'll do is I'll take this concealer and I'll put it right on my eye where the dark circle is. So not right under, but the C where I would see the purple or blue discoloration right under my eyes. So I put that on, blend it out, and then I would take this concealer and kind of just brush it right on top, right under the eye, and I usually take it back so it sort of highlights too, and then I'll blend that out, and it's perfect coverage. It does exactly what I want it to do. So you have to use them kind of sparingly if you're using two concealers in one, because obviously if you use too much it's going to cake up really quick no matter how good the formula is. But I find that definitely using a pinky toned concealers cancel out blue or purpley sort of colors, and then to use the color to just blend with the rest of your skin is a great technique. I found it on YouTube, and it's definitely definitely give it a try if you have. And if you have problems with dark circles under your eyes, definitely give these a try. And Maybelline, I found, is the best brand for concealers. So if you're looking for a new concealer to try, I would definitely recommend you to try these two. They haven't let me down yet, and believe me, I've tried a lot. I also have the Adrian Wine concealer in the color Fair. So they have the brightening kind, and then they just have your fair, light, medium, normal shades. I use this one too. It's the same formulation as the brightener, and it works great. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about loose powders. And I think this kind of leads into the concealer that I was just talking about, because like I said, after I use the brightener and the regular concealer, I set it with a powder. And as I mentioned, my skin is dry, so it's been a hard quest for me to find a powder that I can put under my eyes, because you have to set that concealer. If it's just liquid, then it's going to move. I mean, it's just pretty much a guarantee. So you have to set it with a powder, but finding a powder that's fine enough and that actually keeps your concealer from creasing is definitely difficult, but I found it. And the powder I use to set my under eye concealer is the E.L.F. High Definition Powder. You can find E.L.F. products at Target. You can also find them on eyeslipsface.com. But this powder, it's a high definition powder, and it just looks like this. It comes with this little puff, and you can kind of see there the white powder. It's very, very fine. You can see that it just goes everywhere. But you need a really fine powder to set that under eye concealer, because if you use something too thick, it's just going to look thick and cakey. So what I do is I just take a little bit of this powder, tap it out into the lid, and then I dip my brush in, tap it off, and just put that very little amount of powder right under my eyes to set that concealer, and it works perfectly. Again, it's found at Target. I believe this is $5 or $6, and for E.L.F. that's kind of pricey. E.L.F. products are priced really, really well, and they have a lot of great products for the price. So the next time you're in Target, I would definitely encourage you to give this powder a try. You can also use it to set all over your face. I think this is really great, especially if you know you're going to take pictures or something like that, because it is a high definition powder. It just goes in all your pores and wrinkles and fine lines and kind of blends those away and gives your face this really flawless finish. So I would definitely recommend the E.L.F. HD powder. And like I said, because I have dry skin, I don't use a ton of powders to set my makeup. Obviously I use the under eye powder, but if it's the summer months or the spring, I know it's going to be really warm out and I just want to make sure my foundation is going to stay. I do sometimes set with a powder, and if I do, it will usually be a translucent powder. And my favorite translucent powder from the drugstore is from Rimmel, and it's called the Stay Matte Powder. It just looks like this. There used to be a little crown there, but this is a really lightweight formula powder. It goes on really nice. It says long lasting right on the cover, and that's definitely what it is. And sometimes with a lot of translucent powders, when you put them on your skin later on during the day, or if you see yourself in a picture, they kind of give you this white wash, and you can almost see the translucent powder on top of your skin, and that's definitely not something you want. With these powders that I just mentioned to you, you will not get that, and they're definitely worth trying. And a lot of times too, when you set your foundation with a powder, if it's a powder foundation, it's a color, so it can sometimes interfere with the color of the foundation you already put on your skin. Sometimes that's a good thing if the color isn't exactly matching, but if you find a spot-on color and then you put this powder foundation on top of it, it can ruin that. So translucent powders are definitely the way to go if you don't want to do that. And if you're just looking to set your foundation and have a clean, smooth finish, that's matte. If you were using a foundation like the True Match Lumi for a dewy finish, you wouldn't want to use something like this because it would just matte it right out. But if you're looking for that matte, even, flawless finish, definitely Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. Okay, so as far as products for under the face goes, I definitely have a few drugstore favorites that I love. The first one is one I mentioned in my last video, the L'Oreal Magic Lumi. Just comes in a little tube like this, and again, this is the L'Oreal Lumi formula, so if you're looking for that dewy finish, so you can use it under your foundation to, if your foundation is matte, you can use this under it and you will still get that luminous finish. I'm just looking on the back here, it says wear under or mixed with foundation for a soft light illusion. Highlight a specific areas of the face to create a sculpted effect. So they're saying you can basically use it as a highlighter too. So on the parts of your face where you would use your powder highlighter, kind of right on top of the cheekbone, above the cupid's bow, down the bridge of your nose, you can use this as well as sort of an illuminator. So definitely a product with a lot of different uses that I think is great to have in your collection. Another primer that is kind of new to my collection and is it's a drugstore product, but it's kind of on the higher end price-wise, is the L'Oreal Revitalift Miracle Blur. You can get this at Ulta. I think it's around $20, but I've been using this a lot lately and it's really great. It's oil-free instant skin smoother. So you put this on before your foundation and it fills in pores, fine lines, wrinkles, and just gives you a clean, flawless palette so your foundation can go on top of it. I think primers are really important, especially as you get older and as your skin starts to age. It's not perfect, and you can create the illusion of perfection with the right primers, foundations, concealers, etc. But a good base is definitely important. You can also use this product if you're just having one of those days where you don't want to wear any makeup, but you want your skin to still look nice. You can just put this on, and again, it fills in your pores and fine lines, so you still have a nice, flawless face without makeup. So definitely a lot of different uses for this product and a really good primer. Now this primer is kind of different, and for a while I was on the search for a really great primer, so I was looking at all these YouTube videos and I was just trying to find something that I could afford but had the high-end wear of a high-end primer. So I was watching all these videos and I kept seeing this product coming up over and over again. And I thought, that's kind of weird, but maybe I'll give it a try. And now this primer is definitely a primer that I always have in my arsenal and one that will probably always stay there, but it is not marketed as a primer. This is actually a Monostat Chafing Gel Relief Powder. So, this product is marketed to relieve chafing for us ladies. I can say that I've never used it for that, but when I was watching those videos doing my research, a lot of girls found that the same ingredients in this product are the same as the Smashbox Photo Ready Primer. And Smashbox, they're a high-end line, and when they started the makeup line, their kind of whole mantra was they wanted to come out with a line of products that would make your skin look flawless. So they kind of pride themselves on their primers and concealers and foundations and things like that. So it's an excellent primer. I have it and I use it and it's great. But this is made with the same formula and it does exactly the same thing, and it's so cheap. I actually found this at Walmart. It wasn't in my Walmart in Manchester. I had to go to Bedford to find it, but they had it there, and this is probably my second or third tube. I just put little dots on my face, kind of on my cheeks, forehead, chin. I have some wrinkles and pores that I want to fill in, and just rub it all over, kind of let it set. Don't put your foundation on right after, but it gives you that flawless canvas for your foundation. So I really can't say enough about it. I know it's a little strange to put a product like this on your face, but it works amazing. It's definitely a great alternative to buying that high-end primer. You can just go to your local Walmart, buy something inexpensive, and it does the exact same thing. So don't judge it. I swear it's great. Just give it a try and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. Now I'm going to move on to eyes, and we were just talking about skin primers. Let's talk about eye primers. So there's a few from the drugstore that I really love, and I'll just go through them really quickly because I feel like this video is going to be so long. But the first one is the Take on the Day eyeshadow primer. All the labeling has rubbed off, but this is from Wet n Wild. I want to say it's $2.99. It's just one of those primers that out of the tube, it's kind of like a whitish, creamy color. That's it right there, but when it rubs out, it's perfectly smooth and clean, and they're just great to use on your eye before you put your shadows down. I highly, highly recommend using a primer. It's just going to make the shadows last. It's going to make the pigments brighter. It's basically a must if you want a really strong eyeshadow look. And the drugstore has some great primers, so definitely the Wet n Wild one is one that I keep in my collection. Another one is from L'Oreal, the Decrease Primer. It's this kind of skin tone color here. It blends out just the same as the Wet n Wild. Whoop! Comes in a little tube like that. A nice applicator, so unlike the Wet n Wild, you put it on your finger. This, you can just put it right on, blend it out. And it's marketed as a decrease primer. It definitely doesn't make your eyeshadows crease, anything like that. It lives up to its name. And also, sometimes I use these eyeshadow primers under my eyes before I do my concealers. If I'm priming my the rest of my face with my face primers, I'll just take a little dot of this and just dot it right under my eye. And then I'll do my two different concealers and then the setting powder. And sometimes, depending on the primer, this one is one that I've used under my concealer. And if you're using a concealer that you're unsure of the formula and you don't want any creasing, sometimes using this eye primer underneath really solidifies the concealer and will prevent creasing. So I encourage you to try that technique out as well. And the third eyeshadow primer from the drugstore I really like is the NYX HD High Definition Powder. Same as the L'Oreal, it just comes with a little sponge tip applicator, same color, it blends out clear. NYX you can get at Ulta, and now you can get at Target, which is wonderful. I think that's really great. And yeah, basically it's just a good eyeshadow primer. There's not much you can say about it. It just does what it promises, keeps your eyeshadows on your eyes. Next, I have a few eyebrow products that I really love. One is from Maybelline, and it's called the Define-A-Brow Pencil. It just looks like this. The color I have is medium brown, and it just comes in a retractable pencil just like this, and it's definitely something that I've used. This is probably like my 10th pencil, and I definitely religiously use this on my eyebrows. And I'll show the next product that I use too because they kind of coincide together. The other product I like for my eyebrows is from E.L.F. and it's their eyebrow kit, and it just looks like this. And it comes with this side right here, which is a powder, and then this side, which is a wax. I don't know if you can kind of see that, but they have a few different shades for blondes or darker hair, lighter hair. The shade I have is medium. Alright, so this is basically what I do for my eyebrows. I'll take this pencil. This is nice because it has the brush on the end. You kind of brush out your brows, and then I'll draw a line on the bottom. Ooh, on the bottom of my eyebrows and then on the top. So you'll just have the line on the bottom, line on the top. Don't fill it in yet. And then what I'll do is I'll take the powder and I will fill in the whole brow. And then I'll go back in with the pencil. For your eyebrows, you always want the tail to be the darkest part, not this inner part here. So if I feel like the powder didn't do it, then I'll just fill in a little bit on the tail just to keep that sort of gradient. And then I will take the wax side and I'll just go over the entire brow just so you don't have any flyaway hairs or anything like that. And it's a method that I've been using for a long time now, and it works perfect to have clean, nice brows that don't look just plastered on your forehead. And these two products are definitely higher quality for the drugstore, and they've worked great for my eyebrows for a long time. So if you're looking for some new eyebrow products, definitely give E.L.F. and Maybelline a try.